Okay, welcome. It's another episode of Modern Day Survival. I'm Dean Baker, owner of Post Effect Studios. Thanks for joining us, and today we have back Jade.
Nice to see y'all again.
Yeah, Jade, nice to have you back. Hope you got some really great stuff for us to chew on. I've got some stuff as well. And I have a new guest, Gene Culver. Sorry.
That's okay. I could be Gene Culver. I'm Jane Culver.
No, Gene Culver.
What's up, man?
And I've known Gene for a handful of years now. We're kind of in the similar business, and we've been kind of bouncing ideas off each other now for quite a bit now.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested as to a little bit more about you. So if you're just watching us, if you're just tuning us in, please do a share and like and follow and send us out, because we need an audience. We desperately need an audience. So do that little bit. And if you're watching the stream now, leave it on. If you got to walk away, leave it on, because it really does help us. Just if you're going to walk away, leave it on. And the chat window is open, so if you want to throw a chat at us and ask a question of any one of our participants, you're more than welcome to do so. So anyway, let's start with Gene.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Gene, give me a background. Give me like the you're not a young kid, so.
Oh, yes, I am.
No, you're young at heart, and I can relate to that. Yeah. Young at heart, but you've been doing some stuff for a while. So
yeah.
give me the cliff notes.
I've done a lot in 28 years. The truth is, the number of years that I've been in business, probably going on 30. I'm highly allergic to working for people. I don't do a really good job at it. I like complete autonomy, so I don't do a great job of working with for a boss. You put me at a table or something like that, or a desk, I kind of shrink. So, but I've been in the entertainment business sort of off and on for a number of years. I started back late 1900s, and I worked with artists. I would tell them what to wear, where to go, what songs that they were going to sing, what studio, who they were going to open for. And we opened for some great groups, back in the 90s, like High Five, Small Change, Naughty by Nature, Queen Latifah, Brian McKnight, and just a number of artists. And
Brian McKnight, where's that? Why is that name familiar? I'm showing my age.
Yeah, he's an R&B. He was an R&B artist.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, opening for those groups and things, and artists would get to a certain point and they would quit. And because I was sort of the executive producer, I couldn't figure out how to get my money back. So I was on a panel one day with a good buddy of mine named Dennis Bettis, and Dennis said, "Man, you should really consider managing music. It doesn't get sick. It doesn't show up late. It doesn't destroy the hotel room." And he just kind of went on and on. And so I was like,
and you get paid first, don't you?
And you get paid. Well, you can get paid first or a lot later, but you can get paid on the licensing side of music. So I kind of got in on that side maybe about 3 years ago, and fumbled my way through, and but kind of there now.
But you came from music royalty. Is that correct?
Yes, so royalty is probably a good title for my dad, because he's considered the Duke of Earl. He created a song called The Duke of Earl, and can you do a little piece of it? Do you? Royalties.
You gotta be careful with.
I was trying to get paid, man. I'm telling you, we get paid on licensing.
I know. Hey, everybody out there, go to whatever place you go and type in that music on whatever Pandora or Spotify.
Go listen to the Duke of Earl.
And go listen to the Duke of Earl, because this guy got to get paid.
Exactly.
I can absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
And but we can't really run it on the show because we're trying to keep Facebook happy.
There you go.
The powers that be, if we start running stuff that we can't, then they let us know.
But you gotta let me know. I'll show you how to license it.
Oh, great. Absolutely. So you can get paid again. Absolutely. That's what we need. I just need to get under their radar. Whether or not I can monetize my, those bots are very smart
No
out
such
there.
thing, man. There's anytime someone says this music I don't own it, basically you're stealing it. I don't own a copyright to this, then don't
Well,
use it.
even I use a music service called audioblocks.com.
Yeah, there's a lot of them
I
out there.
pay for that, and I
Yep.
pay them yearly.
There you go.
And- But even when I post something on YouTube, it triggers a copyright.
There you go. It's
And I'm
doing
like,
its job.
yes, but I pay for this.
Yeah.
They're allowed. No. Spiders don't care. They don't want to see a note in the notes
Right.
section as to who owns the music or who paid for
They
it
could
or
care
whatnot.
less.
They
Yeah.
could care less.
Right.
The spiders are out there. They're just crawling the web,
Right.
looking for infractions.
Right, so consider those spiders police officers, right?
Right.
Okay, so let's just imagine for a moment
Yeah.
somebody took your car and
Yeah.
just said, I'm just going to run down the street to Wawa and I'll be back.
Yeah.
They can't do that,
Yeah.
right? So you
Yeah.
want someone to stop them, and that's basically how it
Yeah.
works.
So, your dad's name was
Gene Chandler still
Gene
is. He's
Chandler.
in his late 70s. He's still doing his
Okay.
thing. Unless you heard something I don't know.
No,
Oh, okay.
no. Gene Chandler. All
Okay,
right.
yeah, so he's still doing his
When was
thing.
the last time he performed?
You know what? He traveled a lot,
Yeah.
probably over the past, 15 or 20 years. But lately it's like here and there, he gets to pick and choose. He's
Yeah.
doing pretty well. So that's why I switched into that industry, because royalty checks come in every 3 months. So, it's not too bad, right? So as you get older, you certainly don't want to run around chasing independent artists, and I don't like to do that.
And I know we could talk about your dad and the music and that part of the growing up and that's really not what this show is about.
Yeah, we're going to talk
Man,
about business, because the
yeah.
business side of music or anything that you get involved in, it's all a business.
Well, it looks like George is watching. George is one of our regular guys. He's kind of stuck at home tonight. I'm just going to go.
Hey, George.
Hey, George.
George.
I tried to get the Zoom thing going, but just the clock is ticking.
No
so,
one wants to be on Zoom anymore.
Really? It's already
I've
happening?
seen- Yeah, but the stock's doing really well.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
And all the WebEx people are going, what the hell happened?
But that's business.
We're just as good as them.
No,
We've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah. Longer
Is
than
that it? Yeah, is that it? Are we
Yeah.
just not pretty anymore? Did you go out? Did you get the younger bride? Is that what it is? With websites and
The bottom line is they had a
streaming?
heck of a head start on Zoom, and Zoom just ate their lunch.
Yeah,
That's
we
it.
Probably just
Yeah.
figured out how
Anybody
to make
can
it
do
a
it.
little bit better, a little bit. Let's give them everything. And when you're like the only game, and they were kind of the only game in town for a while.
Yeah, Skype, those guys,
Yeah,
and a
Skype's
few other
still
ones.
around, but they're not as
Yeah, Yeah.
entrenched into the market.
it's Microsoft. Everybody hear Apple?
Well, doesn't Microsoft own Zoom now? or-
No, Microsoft owns
They
Skype.
have Teams, Microsoft
Yeah, they have
Teams.
Teams.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the commercials I've been seeing. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, business.
Talk to me.
Today we're talking about side hustle. Okay. Side hustle, I'm not sure if is there an urban dictionary for that? I don't know. I did some searching earlier, but side hustle is just, outside of you, most of us have to work. Most of us have to go punch a time clock, work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and probably aren't very happy with what we take home every week because it's fixed. It's all fixed income.
Yep.
I hate that. I hate fixed income. But that's me, and that works for a lot of people.
Right.
Sometimes you work for a company for 20, 30 years, your income is going to gradually go up until you get your retirement, and then you're too old to enjoy it. But, so
Yeah, there's pros and cons of it too.
Yeah.
Working, the regular 9 to 5, you may be earning like paid time off, sick time, stuff like that. When you're your own boss, you have control over your schedule.
Yes.
Which those of us who do that, we appreciate that freedom. But also when we don't work, we're not getting paid.
You work both sides of
So
the fence.
I do work
Yeah.
both sides of the fence.
Which is why side hustle is so important, because if you do that, then you've if you've learned to navigate this world a little bit, then you gotta have a little extra side hustle. You gotta have that. My first job, I was probably 14 years old, and I was selling newspapers. I was a paper boy, okay? But I remember, I don't know if you guys remember this, there was a newspaper called Grit. It was
20
like-
by 28, I don't think I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're way, out of my demographic then. No, but there was a newspaper called Grit, and you actually, if you were a paper boy, I had to buy the newspapers. It was a subscription. It was a mail order thing. I would order so many papers, and I'd try and sell them. It was a horrible thing. It was a bad job. It was one of those. It's like trying to sell the Inquirer. But it's really, really horrible third, fourth step cousin, twice removed kind of version. So, but that was it. And then from that point on, it was like, part-time jobs for high schoolers or college students. It's all about the side hustle because your job is school or your job is this, that, and the other. And then the side hustle kind of is if you want to enjoy the weekends or the time off from your regular hustle, which is whatever it is. So, that was my side hustle. And of course, now that I'm in business, it seems like everything I do is a side hustle because I have to navigate so many times. I have to, pandemic's here, shift.
Yeah, you got to pivot.
You got to pivot and shift.
Yeah.
So I'm in halfway through 2 different pivots right now.
Right.
From this pandemic, and it's not over yet. So we got to be ready for the next pivot and shift. So, Jade, what was your first side hustle?
My first ever.
Yeah, your first.
Well, I was probably about 5
Yeah?
when my mom started putting me in publications. There was a company called Harcourt Brace Jovanovich that
I remember
published
that.
school books.
Yeah.
And
They
so
had
I
a-
did some advertisements for braces and stuff like that when I was younger.
So you were the child model.
I don't even really remember it, but that's
No.
how they started my college fund. So
I remember that company because in 1990, I was filming for them. I was actually went into their distribution facility and saw all the books and everything. So I probably saw you, on a book or in a book or somewhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were a child model, and
Yeah.
you survived. You didn't end up in rehab 5 times over. And okay.
No.
Well, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. And then where'd you move on
And
to?
then it was like middle school time frame. I started working as an independent contractor for a modeling agency, doing lead generation and mannequin modeling in stores. And it was really, really low wage, but it was, a foot in the door. And I was like the only 14-year-old in my group of friends that was working and getting a paycheck. So that was pretty cool.
Wow. We've got some viewers here. I just want to reach out to G Money. Gregory Turner just joined us in the chat. And a good friend of mine, Alicia Gray. Thank you for joining us. I'm so glad. And I need to get you in the studio, Alicia. You and your boy Donald, they're just great people. So, and Art joined us as well. So hey, just reaching out to all you guys. Hey guys, if you have a question, ask away. We are watching. I might not see it every second. So modeling was a big part of it. So let's just jump ahead to you graduated high school. Did you go to college?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what was your next hustle?
Well, I continued doing the lead generation.
Yeah.
And then got into like management for that company and started, acquiring new clients and training people and getting them out there. And the cool thing about that was, while it was a salaried position, there was also that commission factor. So I learned the hustle young.
Yeah.
The more work I put into it, the more money I was making. So, but then I also had the freedom of controlling my schedule and when I wanted to take on events, when I wanted to schedule things. So that was great.
Yeah, you're being in, just call it data collection, market research and stuff like that. That's how we met. And then, of course, I started pulling you away from that and saying, hey, come work, knowing all the things that you've been doing, like working with models and working with, it's just been a great way to kind of get you into the studio.
Yeah, like you
having
take
worked
those
with you.
skills and then you transition them into different things.
Pivot and shift. Yeah. What about you? You got any interesting side hustles?
So I'm like you.
Yeah.
I like business. I like building companies. I like starting them from scratch. Even though I model other things that are out there, like if you were going to open up the next restaurant, you could look at McDonald's and say, okay, we're going to make this into a Burger King. And we're going to model what they have. They have a drive-through window. We have a drive-through window. So I kind of do the same thing. But I like naming them and creating them. I'm half marketing guy, half tech. So and I learned to do what I'm doing from a business standpoint at Lincoln University, which is the oldest historically black college in southern Chester County, Pennsylvania. And I learned how to build businesses and met partners there and created this idea of, how to not really go to work for someone. So my side hustles are other businesses that I get to launch, and it's fun. I mean, I'd rather do that than sit at the 9 to 5. And I know, by the way, I'm not knocking anyone that sits at the 9 to 5, but it's so necessary. It's just not for me.
Well, if everybody was self-employed, well, maybe nobody would be uber billionaires, and, because all the money would be distributing. We'd probably be Russia or something like that. I don't know.
We need the people to go to work. I mean, and even the entrepreneurs need people to get up every morning, come in, and help them run the companies. And so I play to my strengths, which is marketing and creating the ideas. And then you have the people who come in and execute those ideas. Whether they're subcontractors or they actually work under you, you got to have them come in and do their thing. And that's their brilliance.
Can you tell us about whatever your big project is that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I would love to tell you about that. But
Confidentiality?
So I think the main thing for me right now, so there's a couple things that I can tell you. One of the projects that I'm working on right now with our songwriters and producers is we're working on turning that into a reality show and working with other songwriters and producers and helping them get from where they are to that next level. Mainly, I like pitching music for film and for television, which has its own struggle to get music on a television show or in a film. But I also am working with independent film projects to get music to their project. And so I do a lot more micro licensing than I do the big licensing for film and television. And we also have another reality show that we're working on called To The Mic, which is helping artists get from that point where they're kind of struggling to that next level. But a lot of people don't know that. It's probably the first time they'll hear about it.
So is that particular reality show, To The Mic, is that going to be something people can find on YouTube, or are you marketing that to companies like Hulu and Netflix?
We're pitching it for placement, so we'll shoot the pilot and then we'll pitch it for placement. That's ultimately what we want.
That's a tough game.
It is a tough game.
It's basically a private club that you need to really know somebody to be in.
You do.
It really is. There's just, yeah.
But there's multiple ways to monetize. So everything isn't NBC, CBS, Netflix. There's a lot of people out there, but you can get it to places like YouTube. You can monetize.
I mean, if you felt strongly enough, you could self-distribute on Amazon, and anybody can do that.
Exactly.
You can absolutely there's a few guidelines you need, maybe a little bit of money you have to spend, but you can absolutely self-distribute if you are a genius in social media and you can find 1 million followers who absolutely love everything you're talking about.
Right.
Then you can get their notice by self-distributing, and they'll look back and go, damn, this guy's got 1 million views. We kind of need to figure out what else he wants to do.
Right.
Or she, sorry.
And you probably enjoy the destination more than I do. I enjoy the journey. So whether it gets to that point or doesn't get to that point, I enjoy the journey along the way. And I also enjoy the notoriety that comes along with it, which helps fuel our ability to get music into more film and more television. So that may be the difference, because it is a tough game.
The creative process is, I hate the bookkeeping aspect of any business, and trying to pitch. I found out I really hate that. I almost hate that as much as trying to work the film festivals.
Right.
And trying to get into festivals. I hate that even more. That is on top of my hate list.
Yeah.
Film festivals. They take your money and then they go, no, we don't want you, but we'll keep your money.
But that depends on which film
works.
festival, too. So, you can't go to all of them. And you could if you have that kind of, deep pockets. But there are certain ones. And then, obviously making friends before you need them is important, too. So in those connections where you're connected with Netflix and the Hulus of the world, you have to make those friends before you need them. And when you have a project that makes sense, you can then make that introduction. So it's not as hard as you might, say it is, but it's certainly not easy. But that's the fun part about it.
It's not easy,
Yeah,
but
it's
it
not
takes the right kind of voice.
Yeah. But entrepreneurship's hard. That's just
They speak a language that you have to speak.
Yeah.
And as a filmmaker like myself,
Right.
you know, I try and speak a lot of languages, but that is just something that's going to be alien to me for some time until I actually get into that meeting one time. And
Right.
then all of a sudden I go, oh, that's it. You're speaking in Big Latin or something like that. Now I understand.
But I
And
enjoy
can
that
adapt.
meeting.
Yeah.
You know, whereas don't let me touch your cameras. You know,
Right.
I don't want to go anywhere near your
Don't touch
camera.
my
I don't want to go anywhere near the soundboard and that kind of thing. So,
So, well, and you seem to be quite fruitful in your business acumen. You know, the ability to bring in, to find, to get inspired and go after something. Inspiration is just part of it. Drive, inspiration, a little talent, and you know, of course, we all watch Netflix shows and see, well, there are shows there. Is there talent on some of those shows? No. And I would tell that to Netflix. There's been some shows that I watched that are just, oh my God, why are you wasting my time? And this is stuff that was funded.
Netflix, the views of the host are not necessarily the views.
Disclaimer. But you know what? Hey, everyone has got to get their criticism in when
Yeah,
it comes
sure.
to talking about films. You know, but yeah, I don't agree with everything that should be out there, and I'm not naming just Netflix. I'm
Right.
naming everybody. There's a lot of shows out there. You've all seen them. We've all seen them. Sat back and went, why did I waste my time on that movie or on that TV show? And then you just kind of scratch your
Well,
head
I
going,
usually would turn it off before
why?
the end of it.
I usually give it
find something else.
10 minutes, and then you go, I'm crying for that 5-10 minutes or something like
Some
that.
shows I wait till episode 3, because sometimes it takes that long and then I'm hooked.
Oh,
Yeah.
ooh,
So-
that's dedication.
But it's the hustle that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So the hustle
Yeah,
to get there,
absolutely.
the hustle to drive the business, the hustle to meet the people, to go to conventions and shake hands and, like I said, make friends before you need them. That's the part that I really eat up. I mean, I enjoy that more than anything else. And most people are like, I can get something to a certain point and then I'm bored. I had a company that I built, actually 3 of them, and then I sold them because I was bored. I was not only bored, I was a little like overworked with it. I was like, I don't want to do that anymore.
No,
And I sold them. you
They
know, so-
achieved some
Yeah.
version of success, so
That's it.
obviously you took it as far as you really wanted to take it, and then said, yeah, I'm out.
And that's what I learned about the music industry, that I was really the rocket booster. My job was to take the rocket to a certain point, and then I let the rocket go, and then I go back, fall back to
Build
earth,
another one.
go get the next one, right?
Yeah.
So that's the part that I enjoy more than anything else. It's naming it, building it. I'm a web developer for 20 years, so I can sort of cheat in that area. I don't need to hire someone to build what I'm thinking. Sometimes I'll just buy the domain, build the website, and let it sit there. You know, so right. So for me, it's the development of it. It's the journey. It's
Now,
the energy you put in.
Did you get in the 90s when all the dot-coms were selling like
Absolutely,
crazy? Yeah,
absolutely,
so,
yeah.
what would
I
you-
had a domain registration company that I owned.
What was your biggest dot-com that you owned first?
It's really funny. So I used to own visitorlando.tv.
Okay.
and had great conversations with them that went nowhere. But then we realized that you couldn't do anything with that domain because they would sue you. But I had great conversations with them, and then I let it go. So that was a pretty big domain. But the biggest domain that I had was a very simple one that was keyword specific. It was called Lowest Domain Rates. And Lowest Domain Rates took me all around the country, traveling and speaking, talking to businesses, telling them how to market, what to do. It was the domain registration company that took me to the next level because I then added web hosting services to it and other design work, and there was a lot that was built into that. But the goal was at that time, to buy domain names that the search engines would easily index. And so if you were looking for the lowest, cheapest domain rate, you could find us. And we sold hundreds of thousands of domains.
Right.
And then I sold it to a company in Lakeland.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Jade, I'm going to focus on you because you said you had a lot of stuff to talk about. You said you came in and you said, I got so much stuff to talk about.
I do have a lot I want to share.
So share away. Tell me what have you learned in the last, or tell me what you're bringing us and our viewers.
Okay, so about 3 years ago, I found a website, stumbled upon it, called Rat Race Rebellion. Have you heard of that one?
No, I haven't.
No?
Which one is it again?
RatRaceRebellion.com. ratracerebellion.com.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so
Okay.
ratracerebellion.com is about not working for the man. It's about doing
Mm.
your side hustle, and now, keep in mind, I've been an independent contractor since,
I typed
you
in
know,
Rat Race and Rat Race Rebellion comes
Right.
up like
Right.
right away.
So
Wow.
this is a site that has a lot of very good vetted, you know, sources to where you can find side income, work from home type jobs, and I love the transparency of this site. And even with like the work from home stuff, I mean, you can find things that pay a decent wage and some that don't pay a decent wage, but you can kind of pick and choose. And they also give you links to other sites so you can research stuff. So I came across, you know, secret shopping, mystery shopping on Rat Race Rebellion.
Guys, punch it up if you would.
So there it is,
Yeah.
Rat Race Rebellion. So this is where my journey began
Yeah.
with mystery shopping.
tell me where to go.
So from Rat Race Rebellion, I started looking into some of the mystery shopping stuff, and I came across a website called the MSPAofAmericas.org. Okay, so MSPA is Mystery Shopping Providers of America, and this is basically like the Better Business Bureau of mystery shopping providers, because there are scams out there. So going to the MSPA,
I'm just doing a search to see, nothing found, but okay. Pop-ups like crazy. Okay. Is it listed through here? Where should I?
well, if you want to open another tab and go
Okay.
to the MSPA,
Okay, let's go ahead and do that.
you can do MSPA.
MSPA.com.
No, it's not a .com.
Oh.
It's a .org. But
.org.
yeah.
And of
Okay.
course, now I just got a virus, so
Be
MSPA.org.
positive for you.
I'm on a PC, so there's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
No. Here, I'm going to give you the website.
.org.
So let me give you the website, okay? https://mspa-americas.org.
MSPA
Americas.
Americas.org. Okay.
Yep. Okay. So
Okay, is that it?
yes.
All right, we're
This
there.
is like the Better Business Bureau of mystery shopping providers. So I went
Nice.
to this website, kind of started doing some research and learning about different companies. Now, if a company is listed on here, they're vetted. They have good reviews from their shoppers. Anyway, so it kind of, I was like, is this real? If I do this, am I actually going to get paid, or am I just going to blow my money? So I decided, okay, let me pick, you know, for a restaurant that I want to go to anyway, that I would normally go to lunch there, you know. And so I did one, and that first paycheck that came in, I was like, oh my gosh, I got my money back, and they paid me an extra $10. I
Nice.
was like, what?
So
This is-
basically, you got paid $10 to go get a free meal
yeah, and take my friend out.
and take your friend.
So lunch for two at a restaurant I would already normally go to, and I
Yeah.
just had to provide my feedback on how it was. So I was like, well, this is pretty cool. So I kind of got into that, and finding that it was real, and finding companies that I enjoyed, you know, doing this type
I'm gonna
of side gig
bookmark
for.
that. Nice.
So essentially, to be a mystery shopper, the most important thing is that you have a strong attention to detail, and you can provide unbiased feedback. So if you feel like you're a very emotional person and you don't have strong attention to detail, this is not a good gig for you. But if it is something that you enjoy, if you like, you know, giving feedback to companies that they can use to make their service better, it's something that you can make a little bit of extra money on the side. For me, it was more about what I call recycling money, which is spending my income may not be going up, but I can still do fun things with my family and with my friends by recycling money. So I spend money, and then I get it reimbursed, and I get paid. So each time I spend that money, it grows a little bit more. And one of my biggest accomplishments was a couple of years ago, I recycled $16,000. I track everything that I'm spending, and this was including, you know, mystery shops for things like haircuts and oil changes, and shopping for clothes for my kids, and a birthday party, and a weekend vacation with my husband at a resort that included, you know, bar, restaurant, spa, valet parking, shopping in the merchandise store there. And I realized that all of these things are, you know, things that we spend money on every day.
Right.
You can find a company that will pay you to do what you're already doing.
Now, do they set a limitation, like you have to show up and eat this food at like between noon and 1, or?
So yes, typically all these places that are shopped and evaluated are done at different times of the day. Like for
Yeah.
instance, let's say a casual dining restaurant, like I don't want to name any specific
No, that's
ones,
fine.
but a place where you may get burgers and fries, let's say, okay? So they offer lunch and they offer dinner. They would have mystery shoppers visit that location, during the lunchtime hours or during the dinner time hours. But these are posted on mystery shop providers' websites, so you can choose what restaurants you want to go to and when you want to go to them. So it may say, this shop has to be performed the first 2 weeks of the month, or it has to be done on Tuesday, Thursday. So if those are your days off and it works with your schedule, you can pick it or leave it. But I was going to say, there's all different kinds of shops, from, entertainment type of shops, bowling shops, theme park shops. Everything is shopped, even flights and cruises.
Yeah, someone could pay me to go on a cruise.
Yeah. Now,
You know me, I like to cruise.
I will say when I
I
found
like to
that,
cruise. If you didn't know that, I like to cruise.
Okay. Take it in my
You know,
suitcase
so
next
if I
time.
never eat another buffet again,
Right.
It's fine, but I still like to cruise.
Well, what's interesting, there's probably somebody out there who's thinking about starting a business for
Yeah.
the first time.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you don't like to do the bookkeeping.
No.
And there's a host of things that they don't like to do. Some people are incredible at making cupcakes, but they're horrible at counting them.
Well, if
You know
I
what I mean?
if I like to do the bookkeeping, first of all, if I really liked bookkeeping, I'd
Yeah.
have been in school for bookkeeping or some type of business. But I went to the creative side, so
Right.
we did it from necessity. And I still, yes, I do my own bookkeeping to keep my expenses down.
Sure. But I know that assets equal liability plus owner's equity. And the reason that I know that is because I want to inspect what I expect from someone, right? So you at least need to have a working knowledge of it. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but I would
Flew
say,
right over my head, but okay.
Oh, makes
he
sense.
knows that, right? But here's the thing. It's like, I think that if you're going to start a business for the first time, particularly a side hustle, I'm a big fan of starting in the multi-level marketing side. I know a lot of people are like, no, don't do that, don't do that. I'm going to tell you something. You got to do your research, find a really good company out there. Maybe you go into it not expecting to make a ton of money, but what you're going to learn is how to market, how to work in groups. You're going to learn sales. You're going to learn structure. You're going to learn company policies, and that will help you in running your own business at some point. You just have to pick the right one, and there are a lot of really good network marketing.
How do you navigate? Is there a site that you found that would kind of, keep the scammers away? Is there a site out there that's for multi-level marketing? Because I gotta tell you, they do have a street cred that's not always
Right.
wonderful.
You're looking at it from the wrong angle. You're looking at it from the angle of,
But I'd be the guy putting my $100 in the kitty going, I want to join, I want to do this. And,
Right.
and then there's that tier 1, tier 2, those guys at
Nope.
the very top that are
forget
going.
that for a moment, right?
Yeah.
Because so what? You spend $100. You can spend $100 on shoes, dinner,
Absolutely.
the cruise. You could go anywhere. You have to think of it in terms of education. Who's going to teach you how to sell, structure, finances, how the entire process of building a business works, how the marketing plan works, what to say to people, how to make presentations. That's what you want to take away from any of those companies. There's a lot of them that have been around forever. Mary Kay's been
Amway?
around forever. Amway's been around
yeah.
forever. You've heard of them. Herbalife's been around forever. And then there are top tier government agencies that are always keeping a close look and an eye on those companies.
Sure.
So
Even
they're policing those companies. Yeah, Tupperware's been around. Yeah. There's
and,
Candlelight. There's so many different,
Yeah.
companies out there that you can get involved in that will help you go to that next level.
Right. It's, and those guys are great. The problem is there's very few in a sea of the scammers. The ones that blast you for about 6 months and get their numbers up, and then the guys have their golden parachute, and then they leave. They bankrupt, and then 2 weeks later, they're starting another one. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I personally have experience with some that I've done work with, and it's always the same story.
Yeah, somebody's at the top, there's somebody at this level.
A small
Yeah.
group of people at the top.
Right.
They work it real hard, they get a good network, and once they hit so many levels, then they can just fold up and go.
Right.
And
You know what that
without-
sounds like to me, though, right? Because I'm not part of one, I don't have one to pitch. It just sounds like a job. There's always somebody at the top. There's
Yeah.
another level here, and then there's all of these workers. But go in there and get from it. Like if you bought a book for $25 or $100, 4 books for $25, you spent $100. What do you get out of each one of those books? If you get something out of that book that teaches you how to make another $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 at least a year or every month,
Right.
that's probably worth buying that book. So you just have to look at it from a different angle.
I will say that if you can get into one that is reputable, that will be around, then you find out real fast as to your capabilities as a salesman, because you are constantly selling.
Right.
You are constantly, talk about not liking things. I don't want to sit here and try and sell you.
But you're not a salesman.
Yes, but I have had to become the salesman too. I talk to, I sit down in a meeting with a new client, and then I'm selling them.
But
and I'm
everybody's a
selling them on my
salesman, though.
creative. Well, no, not everyone's a salesman. They're
You're a salesman or you're on your way out of business.
well, right. If you're in business, if you're actively in business, then
Yeah.
you've done something right. You've done
Right.
something right, at least
Yeah.
for that time, until things go horribly wrong. But again, yes, I'll agree that there's definitely good with bad, and of course they invented the term pyramid scheme. It's a negative connotation to that, but
Yeah.
it does exist. We've all heard it.
Of course.
We've all heard it.
Of course.
I'm not going to pretend not to hear
We
it.
sure have.
And unfortunately, that you just kind of struck a nerve when you said that. And I go,
I know.
"Oh,
Good. That's what I'm here
man,"
for, to strike a nerve, right? But
so-
tell it to the 30 million people who lost their jobs, who thought they were secure in their jobs. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we're talking about a side hustle. So when you
Absolutely.
take your finances and you break it down, you've got money that you play with.
Yeah.
You got money that you invest.
Yeah.
Right? You just continue to break it down. There's money that you save. You have to save. Put it somewhere that you don't touch it. And you'll never be broke if you create the right kind of formula. So
The streams of revenue.
getting in multiple streams, because a buddy of mine said to me, are we going to go to commercial break?
No,
Okay.
no.
I didn't know if we had a
There's
commercial.
no
No commercial? How do I get paid then? Okay.
no.
So a buddy of mine said to me.
We didn't talk about that.
Don't tell me. He said to me a long time ago, he said, what would you rather have, $1 or 10 dimes?
Yeah.
And so I asked that question of you guys, what would you rather have, $1 or 10
10
dimes?
dimes.
Rather
I
have
like the
10
10
dimes. What would you
dimes.
rather have?
10 dimes.
10 dimes. Most people would say $1, and the reason they say this is because they don't want to carry change. But the problem with that is, if you lose one of those dimes,
I got
you
9.
can always go back and use the 9 to get the one that's missing.
Oh, I was thinking you could spend them on different things.
You
or
can
put
spend
in
them on different
places.
things, you can invest them in different things,
If you're
and
getting
that's the purpose
instead
of it.
of 10 dimes, instead of getting $1 from one person, or even 10 dimes from one person, I want a dime from 10 people.
Multiple streams of income.
that's-
So
which
we're
is
talking
what
about a
we talk
side
about.
hustle. So
Yes.
if you put $100 into something and you learn how to market, how structure works, how to work on a team, how the brand works, you're not going to go bankrupt over $100.
I tried in the 90s, I tried a few things. Whenever there was a lull, I tried to find a side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
I tried telemarketing for an hour. Walking into a call center, sitting down, I'm in my late 20s, mid 20s, whatever.
Right.
And I sat down, and it took me all of about 30 minutes, and then I stood up and I walked. I didn't say a word to anybody. I just walked out. I was like,
You're not a sales guy.
no, I don't like that. And if you think about that, and I think how I treat those telemarketers who call me all day long, sometimes you hit your limit with them, and you say things you probably would never say to somebody in person, but you say them on the phone.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just you were gonna say something.
Oh, no, I also worked at a call center for
Yeah?
2 days. Yeah. And it wasn't because I wasn't a salesperson. Like, I was doing very well. I just felt like after 2 days of all the stress of it, that the money wasn't worth it to me.
See, there you go.
George says he wants a penny a day doubled for 30 days.
I know where he's going with that.
Is that $1 million?
It's compound interest.
Is
Yeah,
that-
no,
is
he's
that-
talking about compound
No,
interest.
if you
It's- Well, it's not the doubling of the penny, it's the doubling of the money.
Yeah.
On a daily basis, which could reach you millions of dollars.
Right, for
Yeah,
30
it's
days.
compound interest is the hidden, income for the rich people.
So doubling your money for
Yeah.
30 days is
I'll send
probably
you a
$1 million.
graphic. You have to do the math.
George, do the math for us.
Yeah,
We
do the math.
don't have
He'll
calculators
probably
here.
get into the
George.
in the millions, like 3 million. But at the end of the day,
Go ahead.
it's a hustle. You know what I mean? It's just, and you also find out what you like and don't like.
I
You
just
know?
want to add to with the multi-marketing
Yes.
thing, how if somebody invests $100 and let's say they flop, but they learned about marketing, that's, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've never done the multi-level marketing thing, okay? I'm not saying I support it, but $100 is a lot cheaper than a 4-year college education.
A lot.
And some people go to college for 4 years and then come out and still don't really know what they're doing. And if you can learn that in a matter of a couple months and it only cost you $100,
Right.
then it was worth it. Like you take something
Yeah.
from that because you learned and you can take those skills and grow a better business.
Right. And you don't fail unless you quit. I mean, that's the truth, right? When it's over, it's over. But if you don't fail till you quit. So if you go into another one and you learn something there, that's like we're learning all the time.
I spent the weekend thinking about this side hustle and trying to, come up with some ideas. And for the most part, it gets down to why I've been self-employed for nearly 30 years is I enjoy what I do. I
Yeah.
enjoy what I do. I'm not... could I go make money for somebody else? I've been offered jobs
Sure.
with a regular, and sometimes that particular time I was almost tempted, but then I go, yeah, but I like what I do. And,
Right.
and if you're going to have a side hustle, especially if you've already working 40 plus hours a week and you got to have a side hustle, why don't you just try something you already know you enjoy? I don't know anybody who goes, but you might, for a multi-level, you might just enjoy the product that they're selling.
Exactly. Like if
And-
you like
and-
putting on makeup, you would join Mary Kay.
Yeah,
Or
and,
if you
and
like,
that's absolutely,
if you like nutrition and you like working out, you might join one of the nutrition companies like Herbalife or something like that. And you just do what you love to do.
right.
Yeah.
Start with that. Do something that you love. If it's a side hustle, can be is for like high school kids or college kids, could be as easy as house sitting or
Or selling
babysitting,
newspapers.
pet walking, selling grit newspaper. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Nobody on the planet has ever heard of this newspaper, and if they had, they're probably it doesn't matter. But all I'm saying is these side hustles can be anything. They can be I mean.
Or buy low, sell high.
Buy low, sell high.
If you
take Dad's lawnmower, walk it down the street, with a gallon of gas, and go see if you can get your neighbors to pay to mow their lawn.
No, see, you want to work. I want to sell. So what I want to do is I want to take a picture of that lawnmower, put it on OfferUp, and I want to sell it for a profit.
But much like learning to sell,
Yeah.
learning what when you're young. I'm not going to do
Sure,
that
sure.
now, but
Yeah.
when you're young,
Yeah.
it kind of like after that you made $10-15 mowing that lawn, you're going
Right.
to go, there's got to be an easier way,
Right.
especially if you're mowing lawn in Florida in the summertime. You go, there's got to be an easier way. What else can I do? And you learn. If anything, you learn by trying, and you realize, ooh, I like making
Absolutely.
that extra $10-20.
Absolutely.
It still taught me how to sell because I had to go to my neighbor and say, look,
Yep.
my neighbor doesn't like to mow his lawn either, So walking into that neighbor and saying, I got the lawnmower. I'm already mowing my Dad's lawn. I could do that for you. Throw me $10 and boom, all of a sudden.
So it's seeing a need and then filling that need.
Yes.
Like convincing other people that they have that need and you can take care of it for them. Because you're saying, young people, let's say somebody went and spent, I don't even know how much a sewing machine costs, $80. So they buy a sewing machine and then they invest some extra money into some materials and now they can sew masks. There's a need for
Exactly.
it. And
If
then they
you know
sell
how
them
to
for
yeah.
$6 or $10. But I mean, they can go to YouTube University and learn how to do
I
it if
love
they really
YouTube
want to.
University.
YouTube has been a
So-
wonderful thing. We
Love
didn't
it.
have that
Yeah,
back
so
when.
YouTube University is, guys, go to YouTube, type in what it is that you want to learn, and you can
Yeah.
find how-to videos on pretty much anything.
Like everything, anything.
Yeah.
And if you really don't
great.
mind inspecting what you expect or what your client expects, you could simply broker out all of the development for web development, design, any work at all. Because all you have to do is go over to Fiverr, read the reviews, Fiverr's, Fiverr.com. Go over there, read the reviews, find some great contractors that are happy to take the business for 50% or 25% of what, you would charge, and maybe you charge 100 and they're happy to take 25, and they do an incredible job at delivering it, and you deliver that logo to your customer. I'm just saying, in this time, and I think what we're here to do is to just try to hand to people some opportunities that they can take to the next level, and that's one of those things they could do. YouTube University first, right? So you got to get educated, and then after you get educated, you can go, where to go find the contractors, but you have to have some salesmanship,
Right.
And you sell.
And I want to do something like this. Maybe it's a reality show. I want to start a business with less than $500, and you have to shop it out, whether you go to Walmart or, whatever, start a business from something you can get at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a lawnmower.
People are doing that.
You can buy it
on
on
Amazon.
Absolutely, Amazon,
eBay.
whatnot. But I would love for someone to do the walkthrough on something like this, and
Absolutely.
and of course to start a typical business, you kind of need to have apply for a fictitious name or incorporate. Incorporate is like a next level kind of thing. Apply for a fictitious name, and then maybe an occupational license. And then a bank account, and and once you're kind of in those steps, which you might spend to do all that, might spend less than $100, and you're technically in business. You have a business bank account that you can, and then beyond that, with TurboTax, you could pretty much figure out how to do everything you need to do to keep yourself legal and stable and all that. On top of that, you have to sell. You have to run out there and shake hands and kiss babies and
Maybe not, right? That's the way it used to be. But I feel like Jade has something to say. Tell us.
Oh,
What do
no,
you
I was
think?
just going to share about the Walmart thing.
Yeah.
I went, and the Twizzlers were on sale,
Yeah.
right? Like 2 for $5 for a big pack. And my husband loves Twizzlers. So I got these, they're like Dreamsicle, the orange ones with the cream filling on the inside.
Right.
I bought a couple
Yes.
packs of them because they were on sale. Took them home. He loved them. Apparently, those things are only seasonal. And when you try to shop around for them, the only place that has them is Amazon. And you know how much they are for one pack? $28. So you buy that stuff when it's in season.
Yes.
2 packs for $5. Hold on to it for 3 months, and then people will buy it
Right.
on Amazon for $28.
Yeah, a lot of it's called retail arbitrage. So a lot of retail arbitrage is where you go to places like the dollar store and you find sunglasses for $1. You put a good name on them because they're just sitting there like sunglasses that you literally buy for $1, and they sell for $5, or they sell for a pack of 25 for this price, and you're only buying them for $1.
And you're making like 400%
Yeah,
profit.
making 400% profit. You're making a big profit on it, but you're going there. But there's a lot of places. E-commerce is exploding. People don't want to go to stores anymore. That's why Amazon is now becoming a $1 trillion company. So literally retail arbitrage, and you can go watch videos on retail arbitrage on just about any store that's out there, from Walmart to
Dollar General.
Dollar General's like that's your new best friend. You can go there and buy things at a low price and resell them.
So George just sent me the breakdown of that double your money
It's in
every
the threes,
day.
right? 3 million?
Actually, the big number is, damn it, hang on, I'm trying to, I believe it's, I'm trying to put it in the chat, but
Oh, okay,
day
okay.
30 is $5,368,709.12.
Yeah.
So that's where that double your money, and that's all great. That's called wishful math when you're in business. I can sell you something for $10. Now all I have to do is sell 1 million more, and then I got $10 million. It's wishful math, and I'm in that business plan where I go, I just did a job for $1,000. Imagine if I got 1,000 more jobs just like that. I am rich. Well, that's wishful math. It's not a good business sense. It's like, what's the likelihood I'm going to get 1 million more of these, or 1,000 more of these, or if I'm going to be able to double my money every day for 30 days. It's great, but it's still
Well, he's
which
talking about
will now-
compound interest. So if you were into an account where you could put that money in there and you were getting that type of compound interest. So that's what happens over 30 days. But imagine if you started when you're 25 years old
Yeah.
and you put that money in and you let it sit till you turn 65 and you put it into the right type of interest-bearing, compound
Right
interest-bearing
type.
account. So it's not over a 30-day period. So
Right.
you're only going to get as
No.
much money as you believe you're entitled to.
This
you know.
is just simple. Double your money every day for 30 days.
Right. But let's say you
One
didn't
penny,
double it,
two
but
penny,
you
four
doubled
pennies,
it,
and
you
boom,
doubled
it's-
it every 30 days. You
Yeah.
doubled it every 60 days, you know.
No, I
over a
understand.
period of
It's
time.
just,
Yeah.
it's fun to see
Right.
one penny turn in 30 days, one penny turn into $5 million.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
which is
Yeah.
500 million pennies. So, George, if you tell me where you know where there's 500 million pennies on the ground, I'll go over and pick them up anytime so that's great. No, it's great. I appreciate it. I'm glad George is chiming in because he's normally, he'll be here soon again.
But here's the thing that I think people have to understand. It's hard. It is not easy. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to owe people money sometimes. You're just going to get into jams. You're going to make a lot of money. You're going to make a little bit of money. You're going to have ups and downs. And if it's really legitimately your side hustle, the time to make the mistake is while you're at that 9 to 5. A buddy of mine would take what is called an entrepreneurial break. And just, I'm going to go to work for about 6 months for this company. He met people, he traveled, he did all kinds of things. But what he also did was, with that check, he would buy all the things he needed in business that he lacked when he went into the entrepreneurial break. And he said, okay, I'm going to buy a printer. I'm going to buy a computer. I'm going to buy, and he just started stacking them, never opened them. So when he went to take that leap into entrepreneurship again, he had everything he needed. The desk, the chairs, he had everything. And so use that to make the mistakes. If you know you're going to get a check the next week, so what? You made a mistake. I spent $100. It didn't work out. I met some cool people. But nothing happens, I don't believe anything happens by accident. I think for some reason things that feel like an accident, there's a reason we're all here today. There's a reason we're meeting and networking and connecting. I don't know what that is. We've known each other for years, right? So you can call me and say, hey, what are you doing? And come over and that kind of thing. But I just think it happens, but it's hard.
I texted you today, hey, come to my webcast, and here you go. I really,
But that's what I do for people. If we're friends and we're cool, and you ask me, and I said, and what did I say? I'm in the middle of something. I don't know if I'm going to get it finished in time, and then I just paused it because that's what you do. You make friends before you need them, and when they need you, you go.
You got to be willing. Even starting a small business, first of all, there is no business of one. You network. You find other like-minded individuals, people that share a common vision. Even if it's just, I like the way you are. I want to do business with you, or and I think that it's really important because you just can't be alone in any kind of business. You have to be networked. You have to collect people.
Right.
Even if it's just, and then you have to do everything they ask of you. If you like them, you should
Yeah.
bend over backwards, and they will in turn, when needed, when called upon, they will show. And
Right.
And that is the biggest, being in business, it wasn't just about going after clients. I found an amazing amount of business that I could sub myself to other production houses. So other production companies would actually hire me, even though they technically knew I'm competition. They were still hiring me because you build a friendship, and then they go, I trust you enough, because there's a lot of cutthroat, I don't want you to, know what I'm doing. And there's a handful of companies to this day, years later, that I still work under their blanket, and that's important because
that's the biggest mistake one of the biggest mistakes that most people make is they have an idea and they try to keep it to themselves. And the truth of the matter is, you can share it with 1,000 people. Maybe one of them might get it off the ground, but the truth is, as hard as it is for you to get it off the ground, it's hard for someone else to get it off the ground. So if they do happen to get it off the ground, they're only a couple of steps ahead of you. And so what? The pioneers all have arrows in their back. right? So let them go and then watch the mistakes that they make. But you cannot get an idea off the ground without sharing it with people. It's just not possible. And you were saying a little bit earlier to go find people who are like-minded. I think that's a good thing. You also have to find people who are different. The bean counter doesn't mind counting the numbers, that doesn't mind, like they geek out on numbers. That's going to be your accountant guy, you know what I mean? You need that.
Well, I was going to say, even I was thinking that too, people that aren't like-minded, because they're going to see it from a different perspective.
Yes.
Right.
So where you know, sometimes we think like we have it all figured out, and then not that they're poking holes in your ideas, but just, you know, oh, well, what if this happened, or what if this
Yes.
problem arose? So it kind of helps you to think about it from different ways.
Yes.
You know, it's also part of finding traits in others that you lack. That's where you find
Exactly.
different people. You have to understand the traits when you're in your own business. These are the things I'm lacking in.
Yeah.
And then you look for that, and you know, and great thing about this world on the web, you can jump in, find a group, maybe through Facebook or
Or
through
co-founders, you go to
or,
cofounders.com. There's a place there where you can meet up with partners at co-founders.
Right.
Every Batman needs a Robin. Every group needs a group of
or
super
an
friends.
Alfred.
Yeah, you need your Alfred. You need a guy.
I've been looking for an Alfred for so long.
Yeah,
You
need
know,
that.
somebody with a little wisdom. Alfred is the caretaker to the Batman estate. Wow, I am just, you know,
My husband's going to be so mad.
Batman, you know, when Batman lost his parents, Alfred took care of
Guess
him.
what I'm
Yeah.
watching when I get home?
He was kind of the butler. Was he like the butler, the guy who
The
just
butler,
kind of
but he's-
oversaw
yeah,
everything?
he's the lifelong friend of the family that, you know,
Took care of the
took
cage.
care of the young man.
I'll know
and,
next week when I'm here.
Yeah, we'll be testing you on this, so.
But that's-
next week it'll be Marvel and not DC.
I got Marvel.
See, I was going to mix the DC comic and the Marvel thing together, so I'm careful. Hopefully I didn't. My wife will have a fit.
Jay, I didn't want to send you away without, is there anything else that you brought? You brought these websites, which is great.
Yeah, I have more, but it's kind of like veering down a different road. So I don't want to veer
yeah.
down that road when we're so close to the end.
Then I want to do one thing, and I'm sure, I don't know if you've heard of this, and punch up the website, guys. Punch it up. So, you know
I'm
this?
familiar with this. Yeah, I actually
All right,
found money
so
for other people on
you
there.
almost think, oh, this is a scam. You know,
it's not.
Florida treasure hunt, but it's a .gov. It's actually run by the state of Florida. My girlfriend told me about this a week ago, and I got to give her props. Maria, yeah, yay, you know. So she said this to me, and of course I'm thinking right off the bat, when you're describing this, you go,
Right.
Florida treasure hunt, really? And then I punched in my name, I found $38 with my name on it. Funny thing is, it was $38 that my current homeowners insurance
Okay. Owed you back?
owed me back. Like, they didn't know where I lived, kind of thing, you know, which I thought was, so you had this money, you gave it to the gov, and but yet they're still my insurance company. So I just thought that was weird, but, you know, hey, it still doesn't matter. I typed in my name.
You catch that check when it came in.
And well, it hasn't come in yet, you know,
But
it
you
hasn't
will.
come in yet, but, you know, it worked out great. So I just wanted to throw that. That was a quickie thing, and if
Yeah.
you guys hadn't done it, you should definitely type your name in and see if you've got an old deposit from an electric company or something like that you know you haven't checked. But I kind of have a feeling that if there's a check out there with your name on it, that you probably sniffed it out.
I probably got it.
You
I'm
probably
gonna-
got it.
I'm gonna
So
be honest with you. I don't know about Jade,
You
but
know.
I'm gonna say that I
There
probably
was no
got that.
free
Yeah.
money on there for
Yeah,
me.
we
I
don't
No,
play around.
but, you know, it really depends if you've kind of moved around a lot, and I have, but this has nothing to do with me moving. This is about a company that I'm
Yeah.
still doing business with.
But that's
It's
part
kind
of the
fun.
side hustle is to find
money.
find money that helps you build that dream, build that vision.
That's it. And I ask people that I want to get involved in the show. I say, look, if I showed you $100 on the ground, would you really walk over there, bend over, and pick it up? You know, because that's what we're doing. We're showing you there's money on the table, there's money on the ground. You can actually bend over and pick it up, you know. Do the least amount of work you can do to,
Or you can leave it there for somebody else.
yeah, because there's always going to be somebody else that's going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And we were
And,
mentioning websites and things, and so I mentioned Fiverr is a place. And
Yeah.
I really fill this space for the 30, 40 million people, whatever the number is, that lost their jobs. But Fiverr is a great place to go to. Upwork is a great place to go to. Freelancer, Guru. These are all places where even if you're just doing secretarial work, data entry, you can go there and find someone, and be careful because there's a lot of people. It's sort of
Yeah.
a race to the bottom in some areas. But
Yeah.
if you go in there and they really want someone in the U.S. and they want someone to do a great job, stick to your price, and you'll find people that from time to time will
Even
handle it.
Craigslist has jobs, gigs, of course, with a huge disclaimer.
Yeah, I'm afraid
If
of
it,
Craigslist.
if it walks like a duck,
Yeah, I don't fool with that.
whatever.
Yeah, like that.
But there are actual people doing business on Craigslist
Legitimate
and
work, yeah.
legitimate work. If not, they're selling. I've sold cameras. I take a lot of my old inventory and I've sold cameras on Craigslist. So it works as a point I can sell things, and I even market my studio on Craigslist. So,
But the
it does-
power of these networks is that there is something magical called escrow.
yeah.
So escrow is where if you hire me to do something and you say, I tell you it's $500, you're going to put that $500 in escrow. And so Fiverr or Upwork or Guru or Freelancer, they're going to hold that money until the job is done. Then when the job is done, you can request it, you hand in the work, you request it, and then they'll release that money to you. So unlike Craigslist where you can go there and do something, you know what I mean? Right, so escrow
You
is...
gotta read the fine print
let
on
escrow,
Craigslist.
let escrow be your friend. Escrow will definitely be your friend in
Nice,
this network.
nice. I mean, wow, this hour
A lot of
went
good
by.
information tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. We would, and down the road, coming soon is going to be a way that maybe you're going to get access to this information all wrapped up nice and neatly in a little package for you. But I'm just teasing that right now, but I'm not really putting it out there. So, guys, this has been fun.
Thank you
This
for
has been
having me.
really a blast. I'm so, and not just because I've been drinking coffee for the last hour. This has been, I'm so jazzed up. I could go another hour, but my
We have
guys.
curfew.
Yeah, we all have.
Yeah.
Is there still
Curfew.
curfew?
Yeah, it's curfew.
Okay,
Yeah.
And of course, the spouses at home are probably holding up dinner for us, and so I want to thank you,
Oh,
thank you
thank you for
both for
having me.
coming in and. This has been fun. This has been a hoot. I think this has been our best show ever.
Jade,
Best
thank
of
you. See, that's
5.
Jade.
Is
Yeah.
it? I think it's Jade. Yeah. No, Gene, you were
Yeah,
a
it was really good
fine.
having
You were a
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
treasure to have here because you brought elements to this and you showed up ready to
Talked
play.
about the journey.
Yeah, thank you.
And you had a hand, playing cards, you had the hand in your, So I like that, and hopefully our viewers and everybody, and I'm going to ask our viewers again to like and share and follow and tell your friends and whatever, and keep us coming back, because, you're why we're doing this.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Guys.
Thank you, guys.
thank again.
Thank you,
Thanks so
Jade.
much again.
Thank you.
And thanks to my crew. I got Brendan and Sean. They're in the back pushing all the buttons and making us look all wonderful. Guys, thank you very much. You can probably go to the graphic. I'll drop the mics and you can stop the webcast.
Does the room go dark?
Good night, everybody.